Hi friends, how are you? My name is Betsarim Trump and I'm from Aruba, and you may not have been updated yet, but I'm in this group in the capacity of PR for the project that we're working on with Monique. And I thought I would pop in real quick and talk to you guys about racism, white supremacy, and some clarity, because a lot of people who don't see themselves as people of color have this problem. I have the same problem. I had to walk through it. I had a really beautiful moment of education with Joshua, and I want to talk about this real quick because there's a conversation getting out of hand in the group. And I think it's really unfortunate when things like that happen because everyone is dealing with their PTSD, with their depression, with their, recovery from being in a cult. And then on top of it, finding out all these cultural things that they're doing that are not creating peace and balance in the communities, or that are racist and hurtful, demeaning and belittling. And I just want to talk about it real clear. This is the clarity. When someone talks about white supremacy, they are not telling you that you're sitting around going, oh, I'm better than that girl over there because she's got, she's a person of color and I have more rights than her and I'm more, qualified. It's not that you actively sit around and talk like you're looking down on them. Like literally, it's not something that you're doing consciously. It's taught and it's systemic. You may not understand what those words mean, but they're habitual. They're part of your culture. Pointing question, like for example, I grew up in Venezuela. Not in Venezuela, in Aruba, but my whole family's from Venezuela. And everyone is got white, they want to have blonde hair, they put on blue lenses. I had all these kind of different things. But it was always in the whole thing of, look, my hair is so perfectly soft and beautiful. And there will be always this thing like, well, make sure that your hair always looks that way. You don't want to look like that other girl over there. And in Spanish, they say pelo de alambre, which is like wire brush. Okay? That is white supremacy. That is racist. That is destructive. But you're not really looking to feel better or you feel more deserving. You're just on a it's very consistently happening in your culture. I can't go into so many details because every one of you has different experiences, but bottom line is that you see yourself as you think you don't see color. But then you have a conversation with someone who's a person of color and they tell you that was racist. And you go, no, it wasn't. You're attacking me. You're just an angry African, blah, blah. I say that because I've been there. I have. And when people call you out as racist, you can't get your panties in a bunch and get defensive. That's your supremacy. That's your I'm better than you, I know better than you, you're just angry over there, because that's belittling them. It's when you belittle them for their experiences, for their, everything that they have to walk through. Okay? There's so much to it. Like I said, systemic. Now, there's a huge thing going on in the exJW community. I don't approve of it. All these little clusters of people trying to defend each other and, oh, I don't think that person means it that way. It doesn't matter how you mean it. Please understand, what you think you mean is meaningless. Always. Because communication is about what the person we talk to understood and how it made them feel. Please go and get some common sense. You cannot stand on your horse and say, I didn't mean it that way, when what you said arrived to everyone that way. If I do this, right, I flip you off and I tell you, oh no, this just means happiness to me, you're not gonna be uninsulted. You're still gonna say you flipped me off. And until I admit, hey, you know what? I want to apologize. I thought you'd see it the same way I do, because in my world, in my house, I use it as a happy sign. I mean, I know that was a preposterous example. Please understand. I love hyperboles and I love parables. exJW disease, Bible nut disease, former in my former life. So please understand. I'm trying to convey with the clarity that you need when you are discussing with people of color and you're discussing in these settings when white supremacy comes up. The problem is that you cannot claim that what you said isn't something that somebody else perceived, because they're the ones reading it. Another thing, belittling somebody else's point by saying, "Oh, I thought you were above that," or I thought you would have already been over and healed from that. No, we don't do that. That is lack of compassion. I know compassion is hard for ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. I know for a fact that it is hard to learn compassion because we've only learned a framework of conditional love. If you do what I like you. If you don't do what I like, out the door. And that's what people do. They separate themselves from each other. Granted, I still do this too. The other day I blocked some people. And I want you to understand that when people are offering you a word of wisdom by signaling that what you just did was racist, cruel, abusive, supremacist, any of whatever terms they use, it is because they are willing to educate you. None of them are telling you that with aggression. It takes understanding that being told and called out is very, very much love. Because you won't learn unless you hear it. Hear it. What you just said hurt me, and it hurts a lot of people. And it gets people killed. Because we were just in a conversation with Marta Erwin, and she might leave after this. I don't know. I hope that she listens to reason. We invited her to take the time to be educated. This is important in our group, because if we don't get educated, if we don't learn what we don't know yet, we're not going to come to a place where we're all working together. And the future doesn't get better if we don't all work together. Fragmentation and all this, I'm separate from you and get rid of it. That system needs to go. It does. It hasn't worked. It doesn't work for governments. It hasn't worked for countries. It doesn't work for religion. It just doesn't work. That's not how it works. People don't work in islands. Please understand that when Monique, when Joshua, and others who are in the community, who are people of color, call you out on being white supremacist, on being racist, the first time they tell you, they're saying it calmly. They're going like, "Yo, that was racist." But when you start fighting and you start twisting their words and you start trying to seem like you're the victim and you're attacking me and I'm just trying to be bubbly, happy, pop love, then maybe people might get passionate. Let me see. But they believe too many people in one place means an exclusive future. Why can't they listen to stop trying to define our feelings? I agree. I have to admit, when I was growing up, I grew up in a congregation that was completely people of color except my family. We had maybe 2-3 more stragglers of, Latino or American or Dutch people. So white or mixed, whatever. And it was difficult because we don't understand certain things. I don't understand why they were so protective of their sons around us girls. We didn't. Growing up now as an adult, that I start to read and I start to listen to other communities, it starts to click. They had to, because for centuries, when a man of color appears around, women who are not of color have caused severe problems. Lynchings, screaming rape. I'm sorry. I don't know what the mothers of the children of color in my neighborhood have to go through to make sure their kids come home in one piece. Monique does. Joshua's mom does. Their friends, their relatives do. So when they talk about it, you need to shut up. And you need to listen with hand on your heart and accept. You want to be loving? Stop defending nonsense people. Start listening and accepting and stand with them in solidarity. That's all we need to do. Those of us who are not people of color, that's what we need to do. Because they're stepping up to the plate. They're being vulnerable. They're telling us when things hurt. We need to honor that. And that's why I did this video, because I feel like a lot of white people want to brush it aside because to them, they're just thinking, oh my God, someone's attacking me and calling me out and there's violence. No one is coming at you with no freaking spear. You know what it is? I'm sorry, I'm going to say this. Your ancestral conscience is burning. You know what your ancestors did to their peoples. You know that there's supposed to be some massive retribution, and they have been the bigger, better people. They don't go out en masse and try to shoot you guys or take you down. They're there with love. I have seen it so many times in so many situations. People of color want to take over the world with love. But your ancestral conscience, you know what happened in the past was horrible. You know that by your law of your land, the wild, wild west, it would have been a gunfight to the death, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. And that is not what the community of people of color, the educated community that wants to create change and bring all of this education to the world, that's not what they're after. So I'm just going to say this once. You get defensive, you need to calm yourself down, go drink some tea, sit down, listen to the other person, accept what they're feeling, and stand in solidarity. Which means, you know what? I don't know what you had to walk through and what your community had to walk through. I don't understand it. I'ma shut up and done. Because all these people, they're always defending some helpless person. There is no helpless white person. Get over it. That is not a thing, okay? I was born in Venezuela. I am not dark. I can go live in Europe. I can rent an apartment, get a job. I will have doors open. Nobody looks at me with suspicion. That is not something a person of color can do. Nowhere. And that is something that we have to admit. And you know why this matters to me? I have 3 children, 2 of which are boys, whose great-grandma is a person of color. And my son has got the darkest skin in the world. Okay? I walk with him. He gets this tan. He looks like smoke. Okay? I care because ultimately, he's going to have to deal with it. He might not have the features, but he goes to school with them. Those are going to be his friends. He's going to see some things. So I want to get educated so I can teach him, so I can help him. You guys need to understand, the violence did not come from the people of color. It never did. And I'm tired of hearing, oh, but the Muslims and the Turks and the Arabs were worse. No, man. Shut the hell up. Own up. You're part of the problem. Your ancestry, okay? I'm part Spanish. My ancestors, my great-grandfather, they came down and made child brides. My great-grandmas, all 4 of them, child brides. That is an atrocity. We speak up against child abuse because it cannot happen anymore. And it is in love that we speak. So same with the people of color. And you know what? There is nothing deeper than that. I used to argue with Joshua a little bit. I almost did, by the way, Joshua. I haven't told you. I shut myself up when that happened. But I was like, but women have been submitted. Well, yeah, they have, but layer after layer, when you get down to it, there's been a group of people, and it's been the people of color, who have been just trampled on and used like cattle. Their women were used in different ways. They fed the women who didn't want to do it, who had the money, the owners. Subjected, okay? So when people of color speak up, honor the pain. Shut up. Listen, accept, stand in solidarity. There's nothing you can say, nothing, to brush it away. It happened. It is there. We need to accept it. We need to honor it. And when you get defensive because you think they're coming with aggression, I'm repeating this for the new people who came on. It is your ancestral conscious. It is in your DNA. You feel like someone's coming to get you because you know what you guys did. You know it was violence. You're the one who's more likely to use violence because violence is a tool of oppression. And speaking up truth is not a tool of oppression. There is no oppressor out there who spoke the truth. Never. They twist. I just saw this woman twist every turn. Oh, you don't know the Jehovah's Witness community. Who are you talking about? Oh, if you didn't get my point, you're never gonna get it. Who are you talking about? Because both of us are ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, so who are you talking about? Oh, go back to your corner, young person. You don't know what you're talking about. Twisting. Belittle. Because if you belittle someone, you can put them down. And get educated, because boys and girls, there are so many deep studies, sociology, psychology, science, to give you understanding. You don't have to understand fully at a scientific PhD university level to have solidarity. But you have to willing to learn to be able to be even more capable of that compassion. And I just encourage you, we're here. I'm jumping in on the conversations because some people need to be called out. If you're pissing out of the pot, you're pissing out of the pot. I'm going to tell you. It's not anything personal. It's not an attack on you. You're not devalued. We still love you. But, if you were actually in a room with a pot to piss in and you pissed wrong and someone told you, I hope for you, deflection, exactly. I hope for you, your first response is not, you asshole, why are you in here? Because I'm sure that your first response will be, okay, let me adjust. So you don't piss all over your floor, your carpet, your bed. I mean, that's all it is. Education is to steer you. So you can start going like, okay, so help me out here. What am I doing? Or can you help me move the pot? Well, I'm not going to touch your pissing pot, but you know what I mean. We're not here. Monique is not here. Josh is not here to belittle you and attack you. It's just to educate you in love. And if there's passion, it's because, boy, have they been trying to do this for decades. I'm sorry, I may not have lived in the time of Martin Luther King, but I have seen his speech. There was a lot of emotion. There was the woman, I don't remember her name because I'm terrible with details, but the one who fought, I think she was Rosalind. I'm not sure. You guys correct me. The one with the bus who refused to go in the back. And those are just a few of the stories that they tell us about, right? Because there was people fighting every single day for their humanity. Because this nonsense that whites can't marry people of color, I come from a culture in Venezuela. Anyway, not Rosa. Yes, Rosa Parks. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't realize I had my own white supremacy issues until I spoke to Joshua. I'm extremely thankful to him for that, because I always thought, no, I'm not racist. I grew up in a congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses of people of color. I was at their house all the time. I was hanging out with them all the time. I played with their children. They babysat me, all of that. No, I've never separated myself from them. And I've gone back and taken a hard look. Is that really true? Harriet Tubman is another one. And I encourage you to do the same. Just open your heart. Your ignorance doesn't make you less lovable. In fact, admitting your ignorance is a beautiful, beautiful trait. When you say, hey, you know what? I don't know enough. I don't understand this very well. Teach me. That's lovable. That is love. That's how you show compassion. Because we don't know everything. And people who want to come and say, I know and I'm sure, and these girls, oh my God. This woman was defending these girls. They're not girls, they're freaking grown-ass women. With celebrity status ideation, because they want to be interesting and important. A cease and desist letter for activism? Do you hear yourselves, people? Anyway, let me see. Did they name still continue? Yeah. Yeah. There's also that. The level of education was changed. Like, look. The Jehovah's Witness community is Epcot Center. My aunts used to make a joke about that. You see on the stage, we all hang out. Just because there's a token black person of color elder and, a German guy teaching Jews. We had a German overseer. A Dutch guy and a Hispanic. They're all working together in their little elder's room, and a Venezuelan and an Aruban. Just because supposedly there's all these different members. Oh, we're such a happy community. Everybody of all the different cultures come together and there was one family. I still remember the first assembly where I saw it on the stage. I was like, it's a small world after all. It's a small world after all. Okay, let me tell you what was really happening in our congregation. The people of color, right, were the majority. And we were the tourist congregation. Means every single visiting brother on holiday from the U.S., Germany, from all over the world came to our congregation. And who was the family who got the privilege to host them, take them on tours, and have fun with them? My family. That wasn't a person of color. We weren't even the most outstanding family because my parents were divorced. My mom was a single parent. Had a disfellowshipped child, me. And they were still the group, the one that got to host everyone, welcome everyone. It was our little Epcot Center with all the different white brothers coming to hang out with us. Not with the people of color in our congregation. They write us emails, send us letters, invite us to visit them. No one else got that kind of treatment. Was it on purpose? Did they go, I don't want to talk to them? No. We naturally had that culture. We're the welcomers. Welcome to our congregation. And that bond. Well, we don't hang out with all the other people. The Caribbean, they don't have time, blah, 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 blah. Well, Joshua, I'll tell you something. It's time to take care of numero uno. It's time to take care of numero uno. When you take care of numero uno, then you can pour your love into the world. your cup first, okay? We have a long road ahead, guys. I'm new here, relatively new, but I'm not new to the Jehovah's Witness community in the least. I'm 34, but I was born in third generation, and everything that I've ever seen in every exJW video and community, I lived it in my own congregations, locally. I used to believe that that community that I saw that was completely dysfunctional was just local to me. And lo and behold, I came to find out it is a global problem because Jehovah's Witnesses believe they're different, but they're part of the actual local community that they live in. And this global problem of discrimination and white supremacy, because of all the area that was colonized, including the Caribbean, including South America, Central America, and, Americana, how I call the U.S., all of it was indoctrinated. So, what we're living through, that's why Joshua and Monique focus on the race issue, the white supremacy issue, because people of color and the indigenous are still very much colonized. Yeah. And the problems happening are world level. They happen everywhere. In every single congregation across the world. Because it's happening in every school across the world and across every hospital, every employer, every park, every city, every human farm. Because a few decided they were better than everyone else. And they needed to dominate everyone else. And their own offspring and their own communities, oh no, we didn't do anything bad. We talked to you. We let you live in our city. Did you hear that? We let you live in our cities. Fuck off. You don't have any say about where people live. You don't have any say about what people do. Yeah, we allow them into colleges. We let them participate in Olympics. They're no different than you. Okay, now, I think I'm going to stop here for today. I want to thank Monique and Joshua because, let me see. Yeah, exactly. In the exJW. Exactly. You see it happening in there when it's happening. I mean, really, if our world is going to get better, we're going to all have to love each other fully. And this supremacy, racism gets in the way of love. So I encourage you, we love you. Love will educate. In love, you get educated. Education starts with calling out. Hey, you're pissing off the pot. You might not like it. Take some time off. Drink some tea. Take a bath. Come back. Try to listen again. So why did you say that? Because when we seek to understand, that's when compassion begins. That's all there's to it. Because what we're doing with what Monique is setting up is to give a helping hand to people who desperately need it. And it seems that this community desperately needs some more compassion. So I'm calling you guys all out for it. And if this video was helpful, please comment below. Post your thoughts. Have a great night. Bye.